This is Johannes Persson from Cult of Luna, and you're listening to Bucketlist.
Are you at home now?
Yeah,
And this is outside of Stockholm?
yeah. I mean, it's basically Stockholm, but it's a city just by the sea. It's very close. No, actually, like I see Stockholm from here.
I've never been to Sweden, but I would love to go someday.
Yeah. I mean, but choose your location wisely. It's yeah. I mean, it's such like a tall country. It reaches from like almost as far up north as you can go. But like if you go to down south, it's basically like well middle Europe. So I mean, you can go to the mountains, or you can go to Stockholm and look at all the buildings that doesn't exist in North America, or castle and stuff like that. But that's it. Not much to see.
So let's get right into this. Let's talk about your latest album, Addon to Fear. So your previous albums, you had like themes and concepts, but why didn't you want a theme or concept for Addon to Fear?
It was more about just doing things in another way. Just, I mean, which well, me and us, we try to. I mean, the hardest thing when you've been in a band and for 20 years is find ways of challenging yourself. I mean, because like I can write songs, no problem, but doing the same thing from other perspectives, that's the key. I mean, as long as I feel like we're keeping a momentum, it doesn't matter really if other people perceive it that way, but at least as if we do, or I feel like we're like doing something different, then I'm gonna want to continue doing this. I just don't want to stagnate when it comes to the creative process. And I mean, what we could have done is that we could just come up with a theme that we hadn't done before. But I was curious for myself what would happen if I just sat down and wrote and just because I've been aware of like unconscious like changes that happen like in long terms, and what would happen if I would let that mind go and just see what would come up creatively. And I mean, saying that it doesn't have a theme, that's kind of a lie, because it does. It does have themes, um, but it was more of finding out that theme than already deciding. So after we had written a couple of songs, both lyrically and musically, we kind of took a step back and just saw, okay, what is the story in this? What constitutes? I mean, the theme. Um, what's the story? What is the narrative of it? And we kind of, I remember me and Frederick had a long discussion about that, and then we kind of decided of where we were, and where we wanted to go when it came to, I mean, all the aspect of the album making process that kind of gets dictated by the theme, the instrumentation, the production, the artwork, and all that. So yeah, so there is some underlying theme of travel and most importantly the concept of home with all the different aspects of that word. So yeah.
And I read that you write a lot at night. What is it about writing at night that brings out your creativity?
No, it's more of a practical thing. My kids are asleep. That's the only time when I have time of the day when I can actually do something productively or creatively. Like now, it's 10, so I have like 3 hours of. If I'm going to neglect my girlfriend, then I have 3 hours, 2 hours. Yeah.
Um, I want to ask you about signing to Metalblade. How did that come about?
You're talking to the wrong person. Like I'm well, I can talk about it. It's just that I'm trying to exclude myself from everything. I mean, for many years, I was doing most things in this band, but last couple of years, especially after we started working with the management, is get me out of everything that isn't directly involving the creative part or the live part. Everything else just cut me out. I'm not. Just find a deal with the best. I put my trust in you. You'll find the best deal. With that said, I mean, Metal Blade is surely a special label. I mean, it's one of the labels that I've been aware of for the longest time. And I actually remember the first time I heard or I actually read the name. I must have been almost before I actually learned to speak English. I had that album. I think I still have it here. Lisa Borden, Menace to Society. And I looked at the back of it, of the sleeve, and it said Metal Blade, and I thought it was the coolest two words put together in the English language, metal and blade. And I mean, you don't have to. I mean, there's no reason to kind of uh, to talk about their. I mean, what they know, and I mean, they've been doing this for 30 plus years and been putting out some of the most important records of metal history. So, I mean, they know their stuff, and obviously driven up by passionate people, and that's the pretty much only thing I value with the people that I work with is the passion.
I want to ask you a bit about your job as a casting director. I know you've directed a few short films as well, but how did you get involved in casting?
I'm gonna try to make that short. When I was like, I always been into films, and I've always been interested in storytelling. Maybe that's why we always have had like a narrative on pretty much all the albums, and thought of it more of a coherent story more than just a bunch of songs. And I was at a point when I was like 27, and my life was pretty much circulated around recordings and touring. And then I had these like jobs that I could just quit if I had to go on tour or something like that. And I kind of thought, okay, maybe I should try to get some proper education and get a real job. And yeah, I went to school in Gothenburg, film school, and I did some. I never wanted to move to Gothenburg. So me and my girlfriend, we moved up to Stockholm, and here I started off as an intern working with extras, and then one thing led to another. I mean, you got to help. I got to help a local casting director, actually one of the best ones, and maybe I did a good job because next time the production company that I worked for, they wanted me to cast one of their movies, and then I stayed there for a while, and then me and my friend, we opened up this casting agency that we still do today. The years passes by pretty quickly. So I've been doing this for, I don't know, 7 years maybe.
I was trying to act for a while. I went to like auditions. I had an agent, and I always wanted to know, what is the casting director looking for? Is it mostly just a look of an actor, or is it mostly the delivery of the script?
I would want to answer the delivery of the script because that's how I think. I mean, looks. Yeah, I mean, it's important, especially when I mean, different characters have different traits, and they get delivered differently depending on who's playing them. But for me, like I answered the same question today or yesterday. I can't remember. But like I don't care I don't care how you come dressed. The only thing I value is the delivery. But I know that like I'm not alone. You have to talk to the director. The directors is, after working with this a couple of years, I realized that you need to help them a bit along the way. I mean, if you're doing a character that's working at a bank, yeah, maybe coming in with a suit, maybe is a good idea. Anyway, I mean, I don't care. Like, I can imagine. I can imagine you in a suit. I can imagine you looking like I mean, that's why we have a makeup and hair and the costume designers and all that. But the directors when you go up to that, or to, I mean, if you go to the streaming services or the television, channel or ever. I mean, they're that's just people that's good with money, but basically can decide everything. So you have to help them the best you can.
So I can't just show up like wearing this like napalm death shirt.
You would definitely be in the plus category for me, but I know that like I'm not, like, me and my company and the people that work. I mean, we're three now, and we're punks, like all three of us. But most casting directors, especially in Sweden, they're from like a theater, like Bergman, very serious people. I'm not sure that would go well with them. With me, I'm all good. I mean, if you come in with a Napalm Death t-shirt, then I will fight for you.
Thank you so much. So I know that you're very inspired by the visual arts, whether it's paintings or movies. Is there anything that you've seen in the past year that you were very inspired by, like say a movie or maybe an art exhibition?
I very rarely go to art exhibitions. Like I have very little time to do anything else but work, music, and take care of the kids. Like I have no social life basically. I go to shows every now and then when I can get a free pass from the missus. But that's basically it. Any good films I've seen? I can't recommend any Swedish. I'm sorry to say. I mean, I'm like everybody else. Yeah, actually, I'm good series. Me and my girlfriend try to watch as much as we can, which is not much because we hardly ever see each other. And most of the films that I watch is kind of not that good horror films. Oh, actually, I saw Hereditary finally. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's very different, and it has a special tone that I liked. I wasn't like completely sold like many other people are, but I really like it. I mean, it's definitely like a 4 out of 5. I watched Two Popes the other day. That is as good acting as it gets. I mean, that I was kind of at the end of the film, because I sympathize so much for the characters. Like I need to remind myself that these two people are talking about, they're still, both of them are the like main heads of one of the worst organizations in the world, and I had to remind myself that, even though like I love both characters, but they're fucking horrible. I mean, you just imagine how many people that have died in Africa because the Catholic Church thinks that condoms is worse than AIDS. I mean, and let's not even open the door about talking about homosexuality in the Catholic Church. Fuck them. But it was a great movie though. But those two posts can burn in hell for all I'm concerned.
Hell yeah. Have you seen Midsommar?
Yeah, I have.
What do you think of its representation of Swedish folk culture?
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Every 99 years or whatever. I have a hard time now. I mean, we talked about that film just the other day. I think it's hard to watch it as a Swede because I mean, it's for many reasons, I would say, because it's a bit close to home and it loses its authenticity. I mean, there's nothing in there that, it's just there. It's based on some are very loosely based on the myth, like, throwing off old people from cliffs and all that. That's actually, it's called Ättestupa, but so it loses kind of the nerve. And I watched that before I watched Hereditary. I think I would have enjoyed it more if I at the start understood what he's all about and his way of his storytelling and the pace and all that. But I mean, I thought it was good. One of the most interesting films I've seen in a while. But I wasn't blown away. I love the Joker. I mean, or not the Joker. It's called Joker, right? Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's if you love Taxi Driver, you cannot not love Joker. And I love Taxi Driver.
So I spent most of this interview talking about movies.
Yeah, I can talk about whatever. Yeah, yesterday I was just talking about records and vinyls.
So if I can like tie that in, I want to talk a bit about that short film that you released for A Dawn to Fear. Were you the one who decided what it would be about or what would be seen for the movie?
Yeah, basically everything. Yeah, we started off this process by our management wanting us to do a music video, and I said, okay, that's fair, but I'm not gonna do it. There's too much work into it. There's too much work and all that. And so I told them, like, send me suggestions of directors and just give me some show reels and stuff like that. And I was sent a bunch of them, and I like, no, there's no chance in hell I am putting my our record in these people's hands. Like, and then I finally said, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. Then okay, I'm gonna find a producer. I'm gonna do it myself. And then I was asked, okay, you want 2 videos for a low budget, and ideally it would be 2 different narratives and 1 overarching narrative, so it could you could watch it in one go. And I mean, that was the parameters that I was given, and I can't tell you how many nights I was just trying to come up with something from nothing. Like, okay, 18 minutes. What is going to be out without any dialogue? I mean, that's the hardest part. And we talked about the style. That was obvious from the start. We were very into this Tarkovsky style, slow storytelling. And I was actually at the start. We talked about just doing just one take video of a house burning or something like that. And then I ruled that out because for many reasons, and I couldn't come up with any good narrative to base the whole, like, to start somewhere. But like my philosophy when it comes to work creatively is that, I mean, you need to just continue working. When you play guitar or whatever, even if there's no riffs coming out, just continue writing, because it's like pulling a rope. You need to constantly pull the rope, being able to come to the end of it. And there were so many nights I was just staring out in the dark without anything popping into my head. And then I started, and I didn't have an epiphany or anything like that. It was more like I started to go back to the basics. Okay, what are the songs about? And from there, I started coming up with this journey that looked completely different at the start, and I was fed different things that just came in, like this medallion, for example. That was a big help. And then I started taking in aspects of our whole career from like the start to now, and just putting some references to everything. And what are my influences? Oh yeah, I'll take something from there, and then I wrote like a very rough treatment, and we started location scouting, and we found this amazing house, and I adapted the storyline to the house. We went out to location, adapted the storyline to the location. And all of a sudden I was standing there with an idea, and then I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and exactly the storyline and how it should be told. And so when we were out shooting, I've never been so never had that self-confidence as a director as I had during that shooting. I was never nervous. The last scene was a nervous. I mean, I was never nervous. I knew it would work out, but just burning a man. It's not just burning a man. You need to have permissions, and there were so many things that went wrong that day and that night. We had 3 takes. That's the only thing the only amount of take we had. So, and he's burning for like 3 minutes almost, and all those 3 takes, they're 20 seconds. So all in all, we had 1 minute that I needed to be able to stretch out for 3 minutes. But I was not even nervous at that point. I was just sitting back and watched all these amazing people do their jobs, and when they needed help, I told them what to do, and then that stunt guy got lit up, and then he did what I asked him to. And again, I must say that even though I was directing it, but I had so many amazing people to work on that project, and everybody understood. And that's the thing, everybody added their own stuff, and we had the same. There's an actor there that she was in Midsommar. Tove Skavold, she's in Midsommar, and vad heter scenografi på svenska? På engelska?
Set designer.
Yeah, the set designer. He's from Midsommar too. So yeah, we talked a lot about that movie during the shooting. Well, a lot of great people in the team.
That's incredible, and it looks amazing. So congratulations. I just want to ask you something that we ask everybody who we interview for Bucketlist. It's what's on your bucket list, either for you personally or for your band?
Well, I talked about bucket list today, but it was more like a joke. Can't remember. I've done most of the things that I have had on my bucket list. I mean, I haven't gone to Japan yet. That's it. But I don't have to. It's okay. I want to go out hiking more. Have some places I want to see up north. But maybe we talked about more. I think that bucket list thing we talked about was probably about weightlifting in the U.S. Me and a couple other guys in the band were into strong lifting heavy. We talked about doing weightlifting at the Untamed Strength gym in Sacramento. Yeah, I just have to do a form check. Check out that Instagram account, by the way. It's super funny. But I don't want much from life anyway. I've been lucky to have had experienced a lot of things. I get to travel. I get to do a job that I don't hate. I have 2 kids I don't hate. I have a girlfriend that I only hate sometimes. So yeah, she's sitting right next to me. So I'm good. I could die tomorrow and be happy about it.
Great. So you have a tour coming up. Is there a limit to your tours, like in terms of dates? Like I know you want to you don't want to overdo it because you want to still love touring.
Yeah, that's one aspect of it, and also, I mean, there's well, one aspect that actually been very apparent the last couple of years. I mean, becoming a father actually, I mean, it changes stuff. It's just how it is. We were away for like 2.5 weeks this fall. It was, I mean, it's not that funny to be away from the kids that long. It is what it is. And also, I mean, just practically, I mean, I can't be away for any longer anyway. I mean, we have a household. I can't put everything on my girlfriend. Yeah, it's a give and take thing. And luckily, I mean, it's more of a job now than it was. I mean, I don't lose money as I used to do, and like that because that would complicate. That wasn't a problem when you were 20 and didn't have anyone to care about. I mean, touring was an end in itself. I still love touring, and I would say playing live is I wouldn't say sole reason, but the biggest reason why I'm still doing it. Meet people, see the world. I mean, what else could you ask for? And also get paid for it. It's incredible. Not much, but at least I don't have to eat cat food when I get home.
But you guys put on a great show, and I can't wait to see you. You're playing Montreal on March 2nd at the Corona Theater. Thanks for speaking with me, Johannes. I really appreciate it.